It is time.
Aron, were you a big Phish fan growing up?
Yeah. I mean, it's not my religion. Grateful Dead is my
Right.
religion, but, I've seen a shit ton of Phish shows for sure,
So
and
how
and love them.
how did Phish like come into your life? Like, was it like a family member that showed them to you, or did you discover them like in high school? Do you remember how that happened?
Sure. So I was pretty precociously into the Grateful Dead, much before Phish. I had like an older cousin that loved the Grateful Dead, and when I was like 11 years old, I was like, therefore, I love the Grateful Dead because I admired my older cousin. So he took me actually to see Jerry when I was like 12 was my first show. And then at 13 was my next like Grateful Dead show. This is like 1989 was
Getting you
Jerry,
young as
1990
hell.
was my I'm young as hell, right? And so that's when I got on the bus and haven't really gotten off, right? So in high school, I was seeing Dead shows in freshman and sophomore year of high school, and at around sophomore year, because those were like the small suburban hippie circles that I was in.
Mhm.
So Phish was the next logical thing to get introduced to, and I thought it was cool. I liked it, but I definitely remember always choosing Grateful Dead over Phish. There's a famous Man Music Center Phish run from I think it was 95. And I went to RFK in DC to see the Grateful Dead, which was the last time that I saw the Grateful Dead. But and never, that was the thing to do. I don't know. So Grateful Dead, my religion, Phish, awesome.
Yeah, we actually listened to music with Reed Mathis on the show a few weeks ago, and then we also listened to music with Tom Hamilton Jr. So you're in Billy and the Kids. So that must be so cool to happen. How did Aron Magner and Billy and the Kids happen?
That manifestation.
Nice. Well, you're awfully good at it.
There's definitely a longer sequence and story, but it basically all boils down to manifestation.
That's great. I remember seeing you at the Dear Jerry show at Merriweather, which was so cool. That you got to do that as well. That was like a bunch of bands that were playing tribute, and playing Grateful Dead cover tunes and things like that.
Super fun, yeah. And the Biscuits had like, a great little 15-minute segments of that show too.
Right.
We didn't know what to expect, and the energy that we felt playing that music, in that crowd, in that pre GD50, the months before GD50, it was powerful and palpable, the energy in there. So yeah, that's definitely also a fond memory.
Great. So we're going to be listening to some Phish. We're going to be listening to the song Sample in a Jar, which was originally released in 1994 off of their album Hoist. However, we're going to listen to the rendition live at the Clifford Ball in 1996 right here on Galaxy Jams Reacts.
Do it.
You were here, right, EJ?
No.
Oh. You're at the other one.
I wish I was. I was a big Cypress. That was a long time after. But a bunch of other shows before that.
I wonder when Fishman switched to contact lenses.
Sitting far away, but someday I may tell the tale of little tangle. When into your world I fell. Without you now I'd wander sulking, secretly afraid. But in your grasp the fears don't last, though some of them have stayed. I wheeled around because I didn't Saw you dancing with a lady up on the boy's bed, and I was fucking rather groggy.
Rather drag
Help me to my car. You bind your belt and closing me. A sample in a jar. And on the market stands unfolding with all the woolies in their wear.
I like their staggered vocals.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, definitely.
I think of you unheeding all the times I've raised my cup. And now I know that you knew that I soon end up in the dump.
The singing over the singing in that is cool, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man.
You guys do that too.
Didn't hear what you had said. I saw
Oh, yeah.
you dancing with a lady. I'm on the boy's bed, and I was foggy, rather groggy. You helped me to my car. The bind your belt and closing me. I said, boy, you treat me like the others. And now I don't know. The simple smiles and good times seem alright. I wheeled around because I didn't hear what you had said. I saw you dancing with the lady up on the boy's bed, and I was foggy, rather groggy.
I always gravitate to the high harmonies when I sing along to the song.
Find the belts and closing me. I said, boy, I said, boy, it's
EJ, what are your
Nice.
thoughts?
Oh man, this just brings me back because I really loved Phish back then, and really, kind of my Phish period was between probably about 96 and on. But yeah, I just really, really loved them at this time. Going back and listening to these concerts and stuff like that. And "Sample in a Jar" is one of my favorite songs. And you know, there's a lot of people at the time. I remember them not liking the Hoist album, and but I've always really, really liked that album. Of course, my favorites were Junta and you know, Picture of Nectar and all those previous ones. I mean, just the jams and the crazy psychedelicness was awesome. But the songwriting on this album I thought was very, very good. You know, Wolfman's Brother, Sample in a Jar. And so this is always a favorite of mine. I'm really digging Mike's neon outfit as well in this video.
Me too.
Where do you get neon jeans?
Yeah, I mean, they knew they were doing the show. They picked out every single piece of clothing like on purpose. You know, this
Yeah.
wasn't just oh, this is what he had in his closet.
Trey's like, I'm wearing my Grinch shirt.
Yeah.
The Grinch
I
shirt
mean,
goes
he
on at this
definitely-
time.
Right, and it matches with Mike, you know, so like kudos to the two of them for doing that whole thing.
Yeah, Aaron, what does this make you think about when you listen to it?
Hold on, I've lost you guys. I can't see either of you guys right now, so I don't know what that means or if anybody can figure out if I'm
we
doing
can
something
hear
wrong
you.
here.
Yeah, we can hear you and see you. Can
Can't
you
see
see the
you.
YouTube video?
Yeah, I just see the YouTube video.
Well, that's fine.
Anyway,
So tell me, what does this make you think about when you listen to it?
youth, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, you know,
Mhm.
like I saw Fit first, I think in '92 at University of Delaware here. And would definitely like see them whenever convenient, really, you know. And so all of those songs, especially the Hoist stuff, right? And Hoist came out, you said 94.
Mhm.
94. So, right, I was like a senior in high school, you know, driver's license, you know, summer, Hoist, the whole thing. That's kind of what all those songs remind me of.
Oh, very cool. Thanks for that. Yeah, I really dig it. You know, I think that at this time they were just such wizards. I mean, when you listen to what they're playing, it's like they're able to take, like, even in the constraints of the genre that they're trying to perform, they really do such a good job of mastering like the push and pull and swirling around the energy to create, you know, something like gigantic with what they're doing. And I
Mhm.
feel like, especially when right now they're just kind of doing like a happy funk tune almost, like they're still really able to put so much texture and so much honesty into it, which I really, really enjoy. especially when they're
Yeah.
playing
Yeah.
such a huge gig right now, and they're probably like nervous, or they're feeling electricity, and like you're hyper aware
We're
of everything that
energized.
you're doing. Right, exactly. So
Yeah, what is it like for you when you play to a crowd like that?
I mean, energized for sure. Like all those thoughts, run through my mind, right? Of like, oh wow, there are a lot of people out here.
right, yeah,
That's cool, But at the end of the day, you're kind of really only aware of the presence of the first, 10 rows or,
right,
whatever it is, right? So, it could go on to infinity, but and that part definitely is a little like, mind-boggling, but you're really kind of only playing to the people that like you can feel their immediate vibration or, see their face. Not to say that, you're not taking energy from people further back in the crowd, but
right.
it definitely it flows forward.
So when I was in the back row at one of your shows and I had the wonderful psychedelics experience of flying away on the Eagle, you weren't there with me, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
you didn't take off with EJ.
No,
Oh, okay.
I am the eagle, dude.
Oh, you were the Eagle. You
Nice.
sprouted the
I'm
wings.
eagle. You're just figuring that out. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's so good. Yeah, and also I think that your monitor technicians do such a good job of putting each of you in like this own like little bubble of like music that you can like hear everything. I mean, and like feel everything so perfectly that it's so easy to just like tune everything out and just listen to like your inspiration.
Mhm.
Perfect is not the word that I would describe of how it sounds in our ears while playing on stage. And I don't think that is at the fault of the monitor engineer. There's a lot of information that is coming into our ears. The
Mhm.
Disco Biscuits do play, loud, but we also play a lot of notes. It's
Mhm.
part of our style. And there's a lot of information that's coming into ears that could only do so much, like my
Right.
physical ears, as well as the 3 or 5 or 7 drivers, whatever that exists in my, headphones. So same with speakers, right? There's only
Right.
so much that like speakers can do.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Sometimes I'll see a
But
show and it sounds a certain way, but then when I listen back on the soundboards, it's like almost like, so much more than what I was experiencing at the show at that time. And I feel like you're right because
or
especially
sometimes the opposite.
oh yeah, and sometimes
yeah.
the opposite too, where you're like, oh my god, that like that sounded great, and then it's so I think it's all like so subjective, but that's a really great point, especially because of you
And that's
guys, Go on.
No, I said, and that too. It's
Yeah, yeah,
it's also very subjective.
yeah,
Like
precisely.
what I think sounding good and not sounding good, right, is definitely a spectrum. And depending on your tolerance to sounding good and not sounding good, and your ability to ascertain what is truly good, or just your opinion of what is good. So it is definitely subjective. You could take a very talented front of house engineer, two very talented house engineers, and they could both make it sound different and probably good, but different.
Yeah, and then also the
So it is
room,
subjective. It is subjective,
because you guys maybe go on like
and
a
of course
10
the
show
room
tour.
and there's there's lots of variables. The room, how many people are in the room, how far stage is from the back of the rooms, or how much stage sound you're getting. There's lots of variables.
Mhm.
Thank
The
you so
density
much.
of the air.
Oh yeah.
know.
Do you find that it sounds different when you're playing like up in the mountains in Colorado, or when you're playing like on like below sea level, maybe like on the East Coast?
No, but indoors and outdoors is always very different. For us on stage and the crowd, right? You experience sound differently when you have walls around you and stuff bouncing back at you.
Uh-huh.
Your brain is really busy processing all of those reverberations from different angles and making it
Crazy.
sound the way that we interpret sound.
Man.
Like we interpret sound based off of like the refractions coming back in. When you're outside, it doesn't have as many refractions, right? So you're hearing sound because the speakers are pushing air, and that's what it is. It's just air pushing at you. But you experience it differently for sure.
Thank you so much for that. Let's jump back in. I wonder how it
You
sounded to
didn't like
them.
my Dr. Science segment?
Such a great lead.
Yeah.
The tone is so good.
Love it.
He's giving the audience a shellacking.
A musical shellacking.
I mean, it's such like youthful charisma,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
You know, and so maybe, you know, I associate this with like, you know, that summer of '94 and, you know, senior of high school, but like the Phish '94, you know, Phish '97,
Mhm.
one would argue. They have argued. Osiris argued for a whole fucking
Right.
season.
Right.
Phish '97. You know, versus like Phish 2022, whom I still love, whom everybody still loves, you know, but there's a difference.
Mhm.
I don't know, a youthful exuberance and energy. It's just different. Not saying it's better. I prefer it. Not saying it's better. I prefer it.
I do prefer it too.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely.
That was
Definitely, you know, and it has a lot to do with our memories too, you know.
mhm.
Yes,
Being back
for
in
sure.
those days and just the different situations that you'd happen to be in yourself, being able to go and follow them or go and, you know, to this many shows and get up with, you know, 6 to 10 people and go out to the shows, and it was kind of your regular show crew, and it's just a lot of great memories back then. But I just think like a lot of the songs and the jams and everything are just as like every song was a banger, and every song was just like, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
every song, every
Peak,
single
peak,
song.
peak,
There was
peak,
not a
peak.
bathroom song. You know what I'm saying? There was like,
Yep.
oh, I gotta go to the, I have to go to the Johns, but I love this
Goddamn, they're
song.
killing it. So there's no
They're
good
killing
time.
it.
Okay, they're playing Wasted.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's still so good.
Right.
Okay, wheels. Yeah, the wheels go around in the car. Yeah. I have a funny experience about that. So we were at Merriweather watching them, and my car had broken down before the show, and I had this wonderful, not I'm joking, wonderful old Taurus, and it broke down while we were on like an exit ramp. And so I put it to the side and put the thing up there. Please don't tow my car. I'm coming back to get it after the Phish show, and then we were in there, and of course, right towards the end of the night, they started playing Wheels, and I was like, "No, this is a sign." Right. And so, the car ended up getting towed, and then we ended up having to catch a ride with some random person who took us to Baltimore, of all places, and dropped us off in the middle of nowhere at like 2:30 in the morning. In like the I
But
can't
I've
remember.
got a question. I've got a
Yeah.
question for your story.
Sure.
How many times at this point in the story did you guys sing Contact?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing is like they hadn't played Contact forever, and so it was a sign, you know. And I was like, oh, car's been towed. We get back to car's been towed. Ended up luckily getting a ride from somebody that took us into Baltimore, and then we had somebody from DC come pick us up and take us to their house, and I had to track my car down the next day because it had been towed. So
I like when things like that happen, you know, like little like idiosyncrasies which kind of click, and it's, that's what I think is so special about like seeing live music. And even when you have like lyrics that don't really make any sense, like they can make sense to you in like a certain way, and even when it kind of reflects in your life and somehow, which I think it just makes things so special.
Exactly. And then you're standing there, you're like, they wrote the song about me.
Right. I think that's just when you figure out a small piece of the simulation that we exist in. When those types of occurrences happen, it's like, the simulation. I just caught a glimpse that this is. I told you. I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, right.
It is the Matrix.
Yeah, I am the main character.
I'm the main character of my own universe.
Hi, this is Mike with Galaxy Jams Reacts. We hope that you enjoyed that React video. Be sure to check out the links below of when we're going to be live streaming our next show, and also how to watch full episodes. Please hit that subscribe button. Every single one helps.